just gonna go get some socks. It was kind of weird. So it's a bit dry. That this morning I tossed a couple socks onto a piece of furniture we have next to a shelf, which is I guess it's a table. I don't know. Well, there's something. They're side by side actually, and one landed on the one thing. The other one almost landed in the coffee cup that Glenn had there. It's a shared channel, and then when I just looked, I'm pretty sure there's just the one by the coffee cup. I don't know where the other one is. I was wearing two. We had a bit of a leak in the house, and I decided to wash my socks. In fact, actually, you know what? I might quickly run down and see if they might be done in the dryer now so I can have some warm socks to wear. But you know what? At the same time, any socks are good. I mean, earlier this morning I put socks on, and there was a part of me that thought, I think they'd feel pretty cold as soon as I took them off because they're warmer, but not that warm. So let me just see if we have some up here. Every time I look out there, wow, there's some grass across the street. Every time I look out there, it seems to be really quiet up there. Is there no school today? Yeah, is there no school today, I wonder? It's only minute 48 and one of those kind of days just to roll a lot. I don't know what later holds, but okay, so we have a viewer welcome. So in this one, honestly, I don't know how much I have to say. I mean, it's rarely scripted, but I'm just don't mind the dog in the background, don't mind me crossing my arms. The viewer already left a couple seconds ago. Yeah, you know what? I really, with how I'm feeling and just in general, I think it makes the most sense to wait until somebody's here. I might not acknowledge the next person because that seems to be hit and miss. It seems like maybe some people don't like it. Yeah, the dog is great and he's great comfort, but just too many hours in the day. Oops, it looks like it bounced down, did it? Shucks. So I gotta find that spot in here. I'm just gonna be quiet for a few minutes. My arms are mildly cold, but it's okay. Does this look like a scarf if I do that? I don't know. Does it? No, I don't know. I think it looks better like this for some reason. Actually, this is right around where I want it to be. In fact, that may be a bit high. I did find out about an interesting helpline, but I don't want to use any type of helpline. I don't think it's just the wait times, the repetitive music. One question they like to ask. You don't build a bond with somebody over time. I mean, sometimes you get the same ones again and again, but I don't know. It just feels redundant. I actually haven't done it a lot lately, but a little bit more recently. But for them, there's been quite a gap. It's just not. I think I selected for them to show the chat afterwards, even though I don't know what to expect. I have a guess, but that's still not knowing what to expect. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd really love for this, and I just started rolling recently. I'd really love for this video to, I mean, most of them, but sometimes I have more of an idea as to what I want to do. I was, as the viewer goes, thinking that I could continue what I was doing earlier today, but and I guess it's true. Like, I mean, I don't want anybody to come in and then feel pressured instantly to participate. But I know that there's lots of not shy people on YouTube. I suppose there's lots of shy people too. I mean, that don't post or whatever. But I will say this: there was a place I was thinking of calling that has a main line and another line, and I thought that I had the main line saved in my phone, and I could look it up. She's there for another hour. I still feel mixed about we have to treat everybody fairly, but yet um, that that shouldn't mean that some people wouldn't get picked for the job. Although maybe it's not a great place to work at or a great boss to work for. I don't know, but I think what she could have said, but in the moment, and she didn't correct it. We have to consider everybody, but she said a statement which didn't make as much sense, right? So, and she did that thing with Lorraine. I feel like she was coerced, but other than that, and the tear thing. But other than that, she's great. She's like a mother. But I can only reach her when she's at work, and sometimes she's too busy. Uh, I think, like I say, she's working for another hour and a half, so I don't know if this would be a good time to reach her. But I noticed that I didn't have the number saved in my phone, so I was kind of surprised. I've noticed that every now and then numbers seems to disappear out of the phone. I don't know. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm not doing it. But yeah, I really would love for this one, especially this one, to be very as the viewer goes, some of my, I don't know, to be very viewer led, if 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 at all possible. I'm otherwise going to be pretty quiet. I think I'll go see the dog in a little while. Okay, I guess it's only an hour and a half till he's done work. Not the dog, but Glenn. It's a shared channel, and he's getting a ride home, so it won't take him too long. But I'm kind of feeling stuck with that thing I was doing earlier. I'll just say that I'm kind of feeling like I don't know. It's hit and miss here, and I just sort of feel that this particular blurb I'm looking at, part of me is wanting to share it with Glenn, part of me is just simply wanting to share it. I don't know if just reading it here, especially when nobody's here, would do much for me. I don't even know what I would be hoping for in doing, in doing so, other than to do it and I guess have it in the video. I think I decided earlier, and I'll say it at the beginning of this one, just so I know. I think if I was in Ingrid, I think it would be the second one. I don't know about this one, but I think it wasn't Geraldine, it was the other one. And I'm glad that I went back and added the title, not feeling it too. Just feeling tired, exhausted, and slow. But it's not that time yet. But I think that, the second one today, which would appear as the second one, or would it appear as the third one? Because I mean, I'm not counting this one. It was the one just before this one. I'm sure of that. Is I think the one that would be good to center for now. I have another idea. So I kind of want to do this thing. That looks cool. But I kind of also just want to say ask for suggestions. Don't know about asking for music ideas. I mean, maybe, but I'm not sure what I feel up to if I feel musical or topics. Also, I might start making a requirement if you're gonna tune in, like you have to stay for at least 15 minutes. I know you can't make anybody, especially on the internet, but I wonder if people would try harder to be. Um, and I'm used to being on social media a lot, and it's great. And there's a lot of great things and a lot of good things that people are posting in groups, for instance. Um, and I just don't think I'm in the headspace to look at them. But it's very yicky out today. I don't really. I mean, I've done some laundry, kind of impromptu because of, like I say, it's just not. I've done a little bit in the kitchen. There's just not that much that I need to do in the house. Like, there's nothing that urgent. And yeah, I'm not going out in this weather. I also don't feel 100%. So, you know, I just started rolling a few minutes ago. Happy to have the company. And right as I was about to say that, and I was trying not to make it obvious, they're like, but I bet he's gonna in a few moments. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how much it's bugging people. Maybe, I'm not only fixating on the fact that they show up, but the fact that they go and I'm more bugged than anybody else. But I don't know. But it doesn't always happen, but it happens fairly often. Um, I almost want to say this now. I almost want to wait till I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. In about 12 minutes, there's been, I think, two, maybe three occasions of someone briefly here. I bet you that well, people that just get people commenting freely, which again, it can be good or bad. I'm looking for good or neutral. um, no, well, let's just keep counting either. But uh, if they're looking at their comments, they may be getting feedback. Um, but yeah, I can't believe it's just coming to me now to ask. So I'm going to wait till somebody's here, though. I've thought of doing it in the past, and if I'm distracted on the other computer, sometimes I guess I am a little quiet, but I don't notice it because I'm distracted and reading or whatever. But I'm noticing it with my tinnitus. I'm noticing just how weird it felt just to be. But at the same time, there can be, even if not much happens within it, there can be, they say, power and whatever in silence. I find it mostly eerie and uncomfortable, and for those who have seen this channel before, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm often on about nobility, but it's not always present. And that's something I want to ask is actually whether you've seen any videos on this channel before, and the viewer goes. I did say you, but I didn't mean them specifically. I did not, but I was just thinking about this post earlier today, actually. Didn't miss even with him though. I mean, like, he was to people, but like, he's got lots of subscribers over the years. and also just random. It mostly shows me like big things, not smaller scale stuff. And I've heard mixed things about it going well. I mean, about like the big problems or whatever doing it, but like small part of me that's tempted to sometimes know someone don't know someone's admin to to find a random video again. It would have to be small scale. I mean, if it wasn't recent, I don't know. I get it. I actually do, but to not stick around is another thing, I guess. But I kind of get the not feeling comfortable. I mean, I haven't been lying, and occasionally people have heard me say it, but not always. When I say that, you know, the live chat, I can set it so that it doesn't display after the video is posted. Um, and that should hopefully take away some of the anxiety, especially if they see that they're the only one here. I did have one person, he's actually here every now and then. Last time he was here, a phone call disrupted him, and somebody I wouldn't take a phone call from. Not personally their mother, but mine. But never did make it back. I can't remember how long I was rolling after that, but usually stays for a while. Usually he's fairly busy, but it was him or the other guy from India, actually, I think, who said that it was in the radio and the thing ringing, who said that they noticed that I didn't have much engagement or something with your. I hope the dog's being okay. He just came to the couch before he got up. Why? I know that's what I like. Hopefully he doesn't get the outside with the shirt. I'm not going to do this for too much longer. I am kind of curious, and I'm kind of curious to how the approach of like not really having, like I say, I might do a part 3 to that other video later tonight. I don't know. But now I kind of feel stuck, but at least there's another mode I can use Messenger in when it works. But plus on there. But people should just be glad when I focus on that screen, not this one. You should be thankful. Yes, I have mixed feelings about talking to Dallin. I think that he'd probably just try and say, do your best and you'll make him happy. I am, but not good enough. If not good enough for me. Well, you have to make it that be good to be good enough for you, and you have to be gentle to yourself. You know, are you feeling a lot of pressure? No, not really, but self pressure. I mean, I guess I just look. You know, it's true. I can look at it. Not easy to make the changes though. I'm human. As much as I can do for others in various ways, you know, even when I'm struggling, I can still do for others when given the opportunity. But sometimes getting the opportunity and to do it, it's just easier said than done. But I mean, even though we kind of accept how things are right now and that it's been challenging and yada yada, and we have some of the same struggles. We also some have I have some additional ones perhaps. It's kind of, well, I do kind of. It's sort of like, truth is that, I don't want to, you know, it's not that things are completely terrible and there's a lot of good, but not enough to want to keep going this way for, I would even say, with kind of how long it's mostly been. Like, I'm ready for the changes ASAP. This would be great to maybe play out for the caller. I don't know exactly when they're going to call. It'd be good to have a bit of a heads up, but I did say anytime kind of between 10 and late afternoon, um, possibly occasionally weekends. So, but yeah, I don't know if I'd keep going for another year or two. Uh, I guess I'm ready for changes ASAP. One thing that could be helpful is to hear, that one part that got me stuck in the process, and hopefully I wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of the steps again, but I'd have to find which window and which tab. But, you know, it might be helpful to ask more than one person, or maybe I'll just need to ask one and just kind of be like, what what did you make of that question? And like, it's what stopped me. And if it hadn't, I don't know how many people I would have been given to call in the program, but that would be where it's a little bit more beneficial than just me getting calls. Because with that happening, it can still be mutual, mutual interchange, um, there for each other. Um, but I think that there might be more opportunity, and it might feel a slight bit better, especially since I've been used to using those lines, to, even though both is nice, to, a nice option, I guess, to be on the other, to be in the other role. But yeah, I don't know if there'd be any getting past that one thing, and well, no, especially what I'm talking about. So that's the main thing. Jesus. It's also that, well, there's not a whole lot else distracting me at the moment on the devices, but it's also kind of like, if I'm looking at that and not looking at the screen, and I don't want to see, I don't want to this video to just be me looking at my devices and people wondering if I'm going to do anything other than that. I mean, they aren't usually like that, but lately it's kind of just getting like, just to simply have the company. I'd like to be rolling, and if a nice conversation comes out of it, great. Otherwise, it's just there. Yeah, I looked at 3:30 and there was no mail, so maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, at least, not Friday. I'm so confused by this. People are so confusing because although there was somebody that seemed fine and legit that told me they messaged me, and I did not receive it, even in any of the special inboxes. So this person who's reacting to hearts to my comments about their situation and saying pretty much the first comment's a little longer, not super long, but I don't know if I have the energy to share it. Missing about depression, about something that somebody had said to them that I felt they were actually trying to help them heal, comfort, and be there for you. And she didn't initially see that, but she hearted my comment, and she hearted a week ago. However, you said there's more for you, to message me to unpack that stuff, and I can help. I know I can. I got the time, and so want to help. I've not gotten anything. I don't know if it would eventually come in when it's not wonky or not, but I've not gotten anything. And that went right to my inbox. Yeah, I know even if it is such a big inbox. So. It's only 3:15. Good golly. Only already, eh? Yeah. And I've only been rolling for 26 minutes. Wow. Yeah, I don't want to hear do 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 do. However that music goes, I should know it by heart. Because it's not by heart necessarily, but I should know it, like this. Because when God get put on hold right away, it's very, very repetitive. Very, very repetitive. It's not what I want to do. And I'd rather somebody be here and in the chat where I could talk for a little bit and then slow down, knowing that they're working on a comment because they're engaging, see what they have to say. And, not that if on the phone I don't give the other person the opportunity to talk, but it just feels at a better pace to do it this way. But only when there's activity and somebody saying stuff. I just realized, I'm sure I've noticed before, but sometimes it doesn't seem to swap it for whatever reason. But the camera is actually showing that shelf and stuff on the opposite side of the room than it is. It's actually, I was going to point, yeah, it is over where you're pointing. No, it's reversed. And I'm just realizing it kind of looks weird, like there'd be no way out of the room because that's like where the door is over there. And I know I said in the title I wasn't feeling that in tune, and I haven't been. But it's interesting that I just hope the dog's being good. But I really want to go all the way down. Okay, he was laying there. He heard me start to come down, and he got up because sometimes he changes berries based on coming downstairs. So go to the couch, go to the chair. But yeah, with disability, a lot of times it goes the what they're trying to communicate. It's usually a little out of time. I don't know. I guess because a lot of the ones I see on YouTube, especially like ones that have been on TV, it's very condensed. It doesn't show a full session. So I guess sometimes I feel like I get deeper than they do. But no, I can tell that they get some pretty unique details in this and that. But I'm both thinking about a comment that might put on a post via me saying that, my dad's really, he's almost crying sometimes, and so is he. Perhaps kind of for me, but also his own kids and loved ones and that. But he knows the importance of people not feeling lonely. But that's the thing, is that's not necessarily going to make me kind of quiet for long, because I want to verbalize it when I get it, and sometimes I get it really quick. Now, this is very, very interesting. And this is what I mean by sometimes the visual is just so quick. It's like, so that I can sense what they're doing. Um, and I'm say fairly often about this being a show channel, so I can see what they're doing, or actually, and it may not be super relevant, but maybe sometimes it is. And I know that my dad had anxiety, and I know that I think just once, and then I've remembered it and said it again since. One of his biggest ones was passing away young, like he lost his parents, and it happened. Like he lost his parents young. I don't know how old they were, but like I don't know if his father was even 50 when he was passing away at the hospital. Mother was long gone. I don't think they really talked about it. My mother never met her. She actually does this stuff. And okay, a couple things did just happen. So we have a keyboard here with a chair. And at first, I think I saw Mike pull it out and he was about to sit. And of course, my mind's kind of like, you know, making sense to rationalizing that because the chair is not pulled out. And it's not like he sat in it and pulled it in again, I don't think. But then I saw him leaning on the back of it for a moment, thinking, and he kept trying to make movements like he wanted to sit at this seat on this side of me. And I feel like he's there now. And a moment ago, when I was talking about my grandmother, and you got to wonder sometimes it's just a thought, but then what transpires afterwards sometimes. And he's like, and she looks like she wants to give me a hug, which one thing I've learned with this is that how that kind of works. At first, for a moment, that I was forgot because I'm slow, feeling kind of slow at the moment, even if it's not obvious. And I was like, well, how the heck's that going to work? They have told me, and I'm thinking of JP, if you hug yourself, then and the more you hold on and the longer or whatever, it helps. It releases whatever that's being held in the body. And that doesn't beat an actual hug and connection as well, but you know, um, she says, I felt you needed a good hug today. And in general, I don't know. This is getting to be where I'm almost going to want to share it with him, but I don't know. And, it just so happens that I think I am tuning in. Well, I know I am, but I hadn't expected to. And titles like this one, where I kind of was alluding to not feeling in tune, could very well remain so while I'm rolling. But I'm gonna throw people. Well, I don't know. Maybe some people already think I'm crazy. I mean, honestly, unless you've had telepathic experiences or NDEs or OBEs, you don't know and you can't say. And I'm very thankful that I've not received hate, but I have received, and there's been a couple of times where people have watched for a while, but most of the time it seems like lately they don't, and I don't know what's up with that. And I don't know. I guess it's true. Some people may get entertainment out of that, which is, it can be somewhat amusing or entertaining, but this is really about healing, about being genuine and true. And yeah. And sometimes this gets good time. I wish it would actually, yeah. But anyway, Mike's just sitting here. He's got his arms folded, not meaning to give a certain vibe by doing that, and he's just kind of nodding along, listening. And it's interesting. I saw Clark in an armchair that's not in the room recently, and I feel like my grandma has now, when I only met spiritually, has now appeared in an armchair over there. You know what I'm also gonna do? Because I think well, I don't know though. I was gonna send this one to a particular someone that's on my mind. It got a bit of a slow start, and there's a part of me that still feels like one or two before this, two I think, or it'll show after this, I guess, would be the better one to send this person. Um, I wanted to. I also kind of wanted to see the other stuff before she just sees this also this random video. Although I really do think it could help, perhaps more than clips. I don't know. It's interesting. I was finally able to unblock her with my messenger, and I sent her stuff, and she's seen about half of it, and it's not a lot of stuff. Um, and everything still looks fine, but she hasn't said anything. Maybe she's busy. Um, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it, and I'm going to say the 36 mark and hope that you know what that means. And let's hop to it. That is Facebook. 1 minute. I don't know what Facebook that link that is. Oh, that's my page. Which, okay. So I'm just quickly doing something. It may not have instant results. So while I'm doing this, and it won't take very long, I would just like to ask your feedback on whether you've ever seen this channel or at the moment we only have one person watching. I haven't been rolling super long, but I'm just curious your feedback on the videos I do. But the person laughs about it. So I remember I've sent one person the link while rolling live before, and it worked, and another person a link while rolling live, and it didn't. But then, yeah. So I do want to say, and I was going to say it's not an excuse, but I guess it kind of is. I do want to say that you have to excuse me. I'm not at my best. Da, 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 home for a rest. There's so-called vacation, and we'll stop there. But no, I guess I did do the two podcasts earlier today. It's been a long day without you, my friend. I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. I don't sing a cappella very often. I was thinking about that song the other day. I wasn't going to do it, one, because and we had somebody here just after. It doesn't know talent, sorry. I mean, I have the confidence, even if maybe I shouldn't these days, but I don't know. But point of the matter is that not being with type movie that's from, and then there's a line called "How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got?" Some people kind of come from broken families, and I'm somewhat one of them. So I mean, it feels weird to sing that, but it's otherwise a neat melody and nice song and kind of relatable. But no, and I've been under the weather a bit too, so I'm not. Let's see, no, it was these ones anyway. Or and I'll see about adding. I don't know. I don't know if she meant to send a request or just a message. But anywho, I said I was channeling from about the 36, 37 mark, and I haven't really been. So let me do that. So, but yeah, so it's hard to say I'm not at my best because sometimes I still manage to do okay, and other times it's a bit more of a struggle. And even honestly, even if the spirit or the angel is doing more of the talking, um, um, uh, it's still takes a lot of energy, especially when I'm doing it in video. And honestly, even if I wasn't, I still don't think I'd want to sit here just quietly hearing it all. I feel like I have to let out what I'm hearing. I mean, I talk to myself at home quite a bit. I mean, it's the company of it. It's the I process it better, whatever I'm thinking of better that way, I guess. And a lot of times I'm home alone, all day except for weekends, unless certain circumstances. We got paid for that. I did the thing for having to leave early. It was just like an hour or two here or there, but like 3 or 4 times for dentist appointments. So that was nice. Anyway, I've just been a bit chilly, but yeah. So, but this is so for anybody who is watching this, it's not likely going to be anybody that you know. That doesn't mean you won't benefit from hearing it. And it's actually someone that so Mike, I've only just recently kind of gotten to know. Um, and it is reminding me there's something I'm watching for in the mail, so I'm just going to peek and see if it might be hard to tell now that the snow's melted off the path. I think I see the mailbox, for instance. Grass is showing across the street in that 1 yard. Anyway, but yeah. So but that being said, I feel like Mike is going to be kind of delicate, and for that matter, like my grandma to be a pretty, loving, gentle soul. I think she can be a bit of a big personality or a bit bubbly. But she's like, "Oh, I can, dear, I can." Um, and I didn't know her in life, but except for this way, probably 2 or 3 years now or so now. It's chapstick, if anybody's wondering. Um, I know I briefly sent like JP, uh, Dad. This is really weird, and part of me is kind of sitting here thinking and wondering at this moment. Well, these are people I'd like to sense, whether I hear from them or not. Um, it's sometimes weird to me. Sometimes it only takes a thought. Other times it doesn't seem to be the case. But when I'm in channel mode, it often is. It's weird. But because I've got, they don't necessarily think it's a show, but they want to be here, and I'm rolling. So yeah, I think we got Marianne, my former coworker, JP, a former kind of acquaintance friend. Um, I'm so sorry that the book's been on hold lately. It's like, hey, if you're dealing with stuff or you don't feel like it's something you want to work on anymore, that's up to you. We support it. If so, we're here for you. Um, if you do. Um, Dad is actually sitting kind of with his arm, not in a weird way or whatever, but kind of just sitting with his arm kind of behind JP. And then this is a very interesting combination of angels, I guess you could say. So that's three right there. My grandmother is in that armchair. So I'm sensing for some weird reason that that's the only armchair, and the other ones are more like folding chairs. And again, it's very quick flash. I'm not staring and constantly seeing them over in the room. Um, and I mean, like I said, this is done more me than everybody else, but I don't want it to only be that way. But yeah, and like part of me thinks, sometimes the forms I see them in is not as super angelic as went over here the other day, but more like almost like human form, but not actually there. Um, so it's hard to visualize them sitting. And again, that's why it is. It's just flash visuals. This morning it was really weird. Like someone who seemed to maybe be familiar with me, seemed like a gentle soul, was fairly quiet. I was maybe a little distracted too. Was here and she wouldn't show her face to me. I could see curly hair, and she wouldn't say who it is though. She wasn't ready, I guess, and that I haven't experienced that very often. But anyway, so I kind of feel like I'm somewhat ignoring them all and just talking about them in front of their back. No, just kidding. But yeah, buddy, that's it. Slow down for a moment. Okay, you it's not it isn't funny. It's interesting to hear some like and I maybe occasionally online or not, but not often. People may say I'm going a mile a minute. I don't think I am, or I'm surprisingly being able to keep up with myself. Um, and I'm not really relaying any telepathy more than the visuals. Um, but Mike just said, "Man, it would be so nice to be able to share this with his wife." He says, "I know you want to, but as we said, she may not be open to it. She's just too busy. She's too busy, man." But now that I've passed away, aside from watching my loved ones, I've got all the time in the world. I understand when the mind goes, you start to, you know, go a mile a minute sometimes, and we're not judging you. We're not judging you, but can I tell you something, Corey? He says to me, and when it's on and when it works, it's on and it works. I tell you, but a lot of times it isn't. But um, just realized that doesn't need to be on. Speaking of on, um, he says, "I'm reading your mind a little bit, as we can do. We can hear you. We can read your mind. And you just happen to be able to hear us and realize that we're reading your mind. And I can tell that you're thinking slightly, at least, maybe a lot. Why isn't your dad being the one that is sitting the closest to you and saying a lot?" And I hope you realize, Dad, that it's not because I don't want to hear from you. And he goes, uh, and I keep remembering how, and I guess it gives a bit of comfort, somewhat, sort of, kind of, how when I'm not hearing from him very often, but sometimes I'm hearing from other loved ones, how he's just happy that it happens. And Mike is saying, though, that he says, I know I'm in a different form, an angel form, and it wouldn't even seem like that much. You'd be holding your own hand to feel it as if it, was more real. But I don't want to, I mean, we don't have to get into, things too deeply personal or whatever. And I don't, necessarily want to, I don't need to hold your hand. He keeps touching my knee though. But he says, and I'm hoping that this is helpful to other people too. Getting to know me and just hope that's helpful, but nobody's watching. I don't know what the heck. I know there's a lot on YouTube. He says, "Core, you need to forget about the viewers for a few moments." And nobody's came in for a few minutes since I really started. But I did send this to someone now. So anyway, he says, and I mean, that's how real it is. Like, says you need to forget it. Like, he's telling me something that I feel very like I hyper focus on it sometimes. Not that there's anything to see other than 0 watches at the moment, but in that comment that I put there, which I keep remembering as me, but for a moment, especially since the name highlights in yellow, I almost don't. What we want to say, you've already heard it, but if you want to tell your viewers, that's up to you, or your video. What I've heard him say is that essentially that he wanted to talk to me because we're getting to know each other, and that's important. He says, I think that That's something that we both appreciate and stuff. But he's also saying that he's been there with mental health struggles. This is not to say that your dad hasn't had a hard time in life, in the afterlife. But I've lived some of these struggles. He says, not exactly the same way. Some of your guesses as to why my life are accurate and they don't apply to you. Except you could say, he says, that you're trying to be self employed and financial, even though things are managing and actually doing fairly well lately, a little extra well. But, anytime, honestly, the working world is one of those things anyway. He says, you know, whether we're relying on somebody else to pay us, we own our own company, or we're trying to. Um, there are going to be difficult times and setbacks, perhaps, he says. Now, I just have to briefly go in the other room. He says, you take care of you, bud. We'll be here. I don't want to get the shirt on. I don't know if I've got it yet. I don't want to go downstairs in case he's laying in the foyer and gets up again. I don't know. Once I'm down there, I'm down there. Would have made sense to wear it here. But then random people may see it and may put this together. And that's what they think. He goes hearing training. I mean, I don't know if any of his kids or anybody else could take her aside for a moment and summarize it better than I might be able to. But the thing of the matter is she might get very curious if she was to find out, through the grapevine or whatever about this. And I think that she would think, I don't know how you could not believe it, some of the things that are being said. And if it's benefiting me, I think that she would say, well, if that's what you feel, she's one that would at least respect differences of, I don't want to say opinion, but beliefs. But it goes beyond belief in a way when you see it in action like this, right? And like, so people, yeah, they might be able to summarize it for her. I'd like to meet these gifted people, as the viewer goes. They were only there for a few seconds. Because part of me wants her to know, but a part of me also realizes she doesn't have to, and she may not ever know. But I said breathing's good. My grandma says it's so good. I don't laugh nearly enough in these videos. Too darn serious all the time. Just kidding. JP, who's a real goofball, has been like really just kind of in the background. That from what I've noticed when I'm looking at the screen and there was somebody there for a few seconds, he's like, I might be the one that's popping in every few seconds just to drive you nuts. In which case I say, stop that. But it's weird they did that video of the funeral earlier because, like I say, there's 4 of them over there and 1 of them over here, and I almost feel like creative. No, anyway. He says, one thing that I'm mostly practicing with you might be realizing, is just being here to listen and knowing that somebody is here to listen. Extra great when they say something, it can be even something small, but it can be such a big, impactful thing. There's a song on the piano downstairs said something about. I swear it says something. Its title is something about all the big little things or something like that. Um, it's really cluttered over again. He's saying something very interesting. He's saying, and he's a bit older than me, and this and that. It's something that I feel like the younger generation doesn't necessarily agree with as much, but it varies. There's also all kinds of gender beliefs or feelings, right? But Mike is, I believe, saying that men don't talk about their feelings enough. Frick, I almost want to go to the group and post this. But it's not an afterlife group, and I'm just not really sure. And occasionally there's spam. I'm just not really sure. Not too badly so. Um, but he said something to the effect of. It's interesting, actually. My most recent post. The person, maybe middle name, might be last name, and oh my gosh, he looks a smidgen like him, I think, or at least one of the sons. Might it doesn't look like I remember him to look, but it's been so long. Okay. Anyway, middle and last name is Mike, but it's one of those. There's a lot of those in the group, and like this one was on my own post. It's really going to partners rights with those and blah blah all the sketchy thing, all the two posts, some weird tech geek. Anyway, he says if it's not helpful, don't look. Well, that was just playing the music. It wasn't recording. But this shirt when I get it, because he keeps visiting me, is only going. I remember nostalgia of my past. I'm looking forward to getting it, but the more and more I'm waiting, or possibly the longer and longer I have it when I get it, and I want it, and I hope I get it very soon. It's like it's stirring all kinds of mixed feelings. And that'll be an interesting topic, next time I'm on the phone with somebody. But what he wanted to do, and I want to take a few minutes to do that now, and I told him about in the middle of this, I don't want it to be too much longer. I almost feel like I want another Tylenol. I didn't see a strength level on this. I took one a couple of hours ago. My teeth were feeling a little iffy. I'm going to take one now. Then I'll go down and hopefully the dog here. I don't know if I left anything else in yet. And hopefully I have the shirt. But he's like, actually, I'm going to take gender out of it and just simply say that actually there's still so many people suffering in silence that don't say anything. And it's true. Sometimes you can say things, and if you don't have this kind of ability, even more so, he says, and not really see it doing any good or making any difference. Or it's hard to see it. And he says, you've shared your video with you sent your video to one particular person that you feel is meant to receive it, and hopefully, will be a good thing and helpful for them to see you channeling and just, you know, there's a part of me that feels like every now and then I'll tell myself, well, she already said you seem like a real, looks like you're a real one. But she may have a little bit of uncertainty. I don't know what she's seen or heard about this kind of stuff. But one thing she had said, I hadn't channeled anybody particular for her that I'm aware of, but she'd seen some comments on some posts in the group, was that it scared the heck out of her, I'll say. That looks like you're a real medium, which scares the heck out of me, but longing to know about my uncle's passing unexpectedly at 59. Is he all right? And that's not identifying her. I'm going to wait for a session, though. So if he heard me read that out loud and is coming, and I almost just sensed, and ironic, I talked with Mr. Phillips recently, a fairly big personality coming through. That could be somebody else connected to her that he's with. Maybe he's quiet. I don't know. I'm not ascertaining that right now because I'd rather wait until if we do a session. But sorry, I put that on you, Mike. He says, "Hey, it's rainy. It's rainy at home, and it's kind of wet and snowy here. So a few minutes of extra warmth, I won't complain." He's like, it's a small thing, but he says there'd be maybe at least one, maybe more, that might see this after it's posted. So I don't want it to get too much longer. But one thing, and it's just be hopefully helpful either way, I guess. But one thing that he's saying is he's talking about how important it is to speak what's on your heart and in your soul and what you're struggling with. And he's actually also trying to remind me that they are here. And again, there are so many times where, for whatever reason, too distracted, too stressed, too tired, I actually feel like it's invigorated me a little bit, but sometimes I just can't get there. But he's this kind of channeling, or channeling in general. Because this is really the only kind of channeling you do. Well, this one's kind of different because there's a few of them. That's the first. And I don't know him very well, and it's mental health based, and yeah. Anywho, he says, by the way, it's very brave of you to do videos. I'm sure you realize that. Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna look up his picture, by the way. Although I don't know if I want to show it on here, because I've mostly managed to be anonymous, and I think maybe I should be. I was just looking at his pictures. Ironically, and this is like I say, someone I'm somewhat familiar with in my life. Ironically, when I believe it found the obituary, it may have seen 2 days before Dad's birthday. Actually, I don't know what the thing was I found that had to do with March, but like right around a few days ago. But there was something. It would not have been this year, but there was something. I don't think that's him. But that says March 24th. But anywho, there was somebody under the title guest. He posted a bunch of photos. Some of them were August of 2024, fairly recently. Well, with that picture, there's not many flowers there, I feel. With that picture, he was holding the beer. He says, "You drink, buddy?" Not often, but cheers. See, and when I get the shirt, I was thinking of posting in a group, and I am so tempted. So tempted. But if it's too long, I could say my little spiels, but I'm so tempted to say, yeah, and he's actually visited me on my videos. See, it's that kind of thing. I'd start off by saying, well, the heaven part, but people might be reacting just to it in general. I could say, I could ask who here believes in the afterlife and then message them individually, instead of on the post. Um, this might be the most recent one before then. And the 37 mark, if I don't get too long, then that's about an hour, a little under that. Um, as much as I would love his wife to know, and I think that, again, she would hopefully accept that maybe the best picture I'm going to find him. that you know this is helpful to me and that kind of thing. But he says, "Why don't you put your phone down, buddy?" And we kind of know already. I don't know a lot. I've only been kind of, and it felt very random. I mean, yeah, they opened recently, but past like almost 2 weeks now, or at least a week, maybe not exactly starting Mondays. Well, it's only Wednesday today, so it would have been last week. I've been thinking about this place. I've been thinking about this family, and I don't. I'm not entirely sure why suddenly, other than nostalgia, but I feel like something has kind of triggered it to me, and I don't know what. I don't remember what. But point of the matter is, yeah, I know this was thinking that, but it's just something kind of. I'm chilly, and I think I like the look of it. I like the colors um, combination. But yeah, basically, it says for me, for anyone who may see this, we'll see what we can do, bud. We'll do our best, and you know, perhaps even for you, he says. I know this is hard. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's very important to talk about what we're going through, what we're struggling with, man, buddy. Just take your time. Take your time. Only share what you want to share. I knew that the emotions were going to start coming. I knew that I was hearing it in my head that he wanted me to get deep, or as deep as I'm comfortable getting. I don't know. It's it's to a point lately where sometimes I literally almost sometimes my body, but where I just feel numb and foggy. And he says that can be very normal. Scary though, right? Sometimes. Hmm. Uncomfortable. I would say uncomfortable. I don't know about scary. Says fun. If that's your experience, then it's maybe not as bad as scary. So that's a good thing. Um, not a great thing, but I get what he's saying. Um, wow, wow. And I'm sitting here in my own head, being kind of not to being shouldn't tell me because it's hard enough to do this sometimes, and we just got take what we get from them and see what resonates or what possibly resonates, and the power of that. But I didn't forget that there was the other sitting over there, and my dad just wanted to come in and say, maybe just because I'm getting tired of my own voice for a moment, I'll try and sound like he did. I don't mimic him very often. I know he wouldn't be thinking I'm doing it meanly or anything. But I feel like he wants to help me along. It's not that I don't feel confident or feel like what I wanted to say was untrue, but then he says, my 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 dear one here, he says sometimes I don't know what terms of endearment terms of love and fatherly love to say, but is very talented and very smart. I'm not mimicking the voice, and there's no real accent. It's just kind of deep and gravelly, and I'm not doing it very well. Okay, there, buddy. No, no, sorry. That beat to a horse. He worked with horses. Ooh, okay, boy. Okay, boy. This is not a show. I'm just feeling how present they are. And I feel like it's been a while since I've felt, I guess, such a deep connection. Let me download this just to just to keep copy of it because I mean I want one. But and now it's been out, yeah. Anyway, basically, but I've been struggling with unemployment. I don't drive. I don't have degrees. Um, not easily for me to attain a degree, and there's reasons why, as much as I might want one, I will not probably ever want to drive and have a car. Biking weather is getting closer. I must bring my bike in soon. They know, at least some of them know there's something else I really want to buy. I don't know how that's going to come about. There were certain things that we're doing, a certain thing that, well, almost as if they were trying to tell me, if you really want it, don't. But Mike just said, at your core, you're still a guy. And you're going to do things. It's needs. That's all it is. It's normal. And JP goes, yeah, buddy. Sometimes I surprise myself how clear this stuff comes in. And other times it's like it's a bit more challenging for whatever reason. And Marianne says, well, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. This is not what I came for. No, but especially that kind of one statement, and I was trying not to be too obvious. But I try to keep my eyes open. I try to put myself out there. I don't want to say it falls on deaf ears, but I don't know. A lot of times it just doesn't precipitate. And sometimes I'm misunderstood. And other times it precipitates, but it's short lasting. And then I go into stuck mode again. And it's been very hard. Still nobody's you're watching, but whatever. Mike's saying you seem to feel a sense of peace. Part of it's just I'm tired. Part of it, not that that's the first time I've verbalized it. Sometimes to mental health lines. He says, I know they're not the greatest, but sometimes if it's what you got to use it. And he says, as much as they all miss you, sometimes they'd rather you use that than it's so hard. It's so hard. He says, we know that you all want to see each other soon. in an even deeper way than this. But yeah, says Corey, you're still very young. You're too young uh, to be. Yeah, you're pretty young too, Mike. Well, I was a little older than you, he says, but and with that, perhaps came more difficulties that I didn't handle well, he said. I admit that. I'm sitting here in my head trying to decide if I want to get him to open up now, or any of the others. To be honest, they say that this is important. That this is about me. As long as I've done my best, you know, talk about mental illness. We could talk about self-discovery and enlightenment. Um, could do that next time, perhaps. I actually would like to share their stories a little bit, to be honest, because they're important to me and their legacies matter. Mike gets up, says, "Who's next?" It's like the interview chair suddenly. Certainly, this does not seem to happen. Doesn't happen this in depth every day. So my grandmother is here now, on my dad's side. Sound like Dal now. Speaking about her earlier, she says, "I'm just looking at my two guys, my son, my grandson. Pardon my word choices, if you may. Uh, wow, I love you both so much. And again, dear, I'm so sorry that I gained him. You had to lose him at that time, your father, in a tragic way at a young age. And I'm so sorry, dear. I'm sorry to bring that up, but I feel so bad for you. And watching you go through your life without him." She says, "We love when you have good times, you're letting other people, and you're smiling and you're happy. But we know it hasn't been easy at times. And we're always with you. You don't have to doubt that." She says, "Only thing I'll share about my story is that I passed away in my early 40s." She seems to be claiming, and that's something that I don't think any of our family would be able to verify, to be honest. I mean, my dad has a few cousins. A lot of them have passed away already. That's a big thing, and some of them are not really in much contact. So, and she says, "And I'm also not lying." There's that. Anyway, and she says, it was, before the age of the internet. I understand it's a very popular thing now. She says, and I did what he does. Yeah, I probably where I got it from. To be quite honest, I grew up in Ontario in a town called London, Trenton. Spent some time in Windsor. She says, and I love those small towns. I can see why you miss it. Even though if you weren't living in those towns per se, and why you sometimes just feel swallowed by this big city sometimes. But she says, and this might be, I love to have a good time. I mean, I had a short life, but I lived it fully, she says. And she says, she's trying to, I'm trying to process it, and she's also trying to decide what else to share. She says, if she had been alive and perhaps younger She sees herself in about her 30s. Younger these days, she would possibly be all for this social media stuff and podcasting and this and that. Um, but she was from a time when it didn't really wasn't used very much, didn't exist as much. Um, and I feel like my dad has been in here a few times, but she's like, oh, but he's got, something probably very powerful he might want to say. But yeah, I had one son. I adopted one of my siblings' kids. I recently found that out actually. When their mother passed away. I don't know much about the father, but she says we don't have to talk about him right now. And fortunately, he died pretty young too, before Gary, but about in his mid 30s as well. And I know you were only a toddler, Corey. Hey, you remember that, don't you? I know you remember that. And she says, this will sound funny, but she actually, I think, kind of worded it as, I loved the guys in my life. She says, I was surrounded by a lot of men. It's true. Um, I love to bake. I love to do spiritual stuff like this. I would sing fairly often. And I remember saying that once, something about having the voice of an angel, actually now. And oh, how could I forget that I had an infant child that passed away? Um, and so Corey here was pretty much an only child, like his dad. His dad had a son from another marriage. Yeah, I'll step in here. Sure, thank you. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, and basically, and of course, I know some of this stuff, but whatever. Um, I have two sons. They're about 7 or 8 years apart. Heck, one of them's almost 50 now. I can't believe it. He says, and I might send this to him actually. In specified 37, but he's not one that would sit on the device for this long. Some people would. And I really want to wrap it up soon. We've got Marianne and JP soon, and then Glenn will be home, hopefully. What to say? Reminding you, son, that I'm proud of you, and like Mike said to you the other day in the video, you're doing me proud in the best way you can. Try not to be too hard on yourself. I'm proud of Burke for other reasons, and I know you know what they are. But, do I agree? He's actually saying this. Well, he's saying it all, but do I agree with every decision he's made? No. And I wish you guys lived closer to each other. I'd be curious to know what that looked like. But I wasn't able to talk him out of moving. And you know what? When I look back on that, and there's a song that transpired this, I'll try and do it in the next video, maybe just the song. He said, when I look back on that, it did allow his life to unfold in a very interesting way. And he's accomplished a lot. And he's right around the age that I was when I passed away. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't anxious. Even if it's not because of health. I passed away in an auto accident. He doesn't drive, but what's going to happen to him? And I'm about 8 years younger than that. Or 10. No. I think he's 48, 49, and I'm 38. So I didn't think we were that much apart. But anyway. I was a blacksmith in the town that we lived in, working with horses and their feet. And I drove a horse carriage back in the 80s. But we don't have to talk about me too much. And honestly, I only have until I was 11. I had a lot of CYWs and this and that. So honestly, I don't know a whole lot much more about him anyway. I'd love to hear more. We just don't have a lot of time. We have two more people here. Yeah, we'll wait for a session with that lady. But Okay, now this is like an hour still. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I know you've done a lot of podcasting today, and even though this is us talking, you're the one verbalizing it. So we want to go easy on you here. JP stands up and says, speak for yourself. He knows how much of a firecracker I can be. Isn't that for sure? Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say I'm JP. Why are you talking like you're from a southern state? Oh, I'm glad I'm not in Trump land. We are on treaty territory, he says. And actually, that's interesting. Um, I died of an overdose. I'm sorry you have to hear that again, mate. Says I dabbled with drugs. I had some hard moments in my life, accepting myself, keeping things from my family. But perhaps the hardest part is that I don't know what else in my system may have contributed, but I was given something that ultimately took my life. But I like to have fun, yo. I like to have fun, party, woo. He knows it. He knows it. He says he's pushing my arm. You're pretty cool, he says. And he wasn't black. He was actually, I believe, indigenous. And I didn't mean to sound racist or whatever, but just sound like, you cool. You cool. Profit, something that's not, yeah. And I feel like she's doing it this way, interestingly. Hello, everybody. I'm not much one to be on camera, but I just wanted to say that I worked with. What is this? A funeral? My goodness! I worked with Corey, and I'd like to thank the Academy. No, and we shared many bus rides together. Many bus rides is what she said. To and from work. They weren't always. They usually weren't very long. Sometimes we talk at the short 15-minute break we got. How stupid was that, eh? And but as I've told him before, I cherish those moments. He was a pleasure to get to know and to chat with, and I wish that he knew how often I was with him when he's having his cup of coffee, and I wish we'd went for coffee more. We never know when we're going to die, and so we don't necessarily, or passed away. We don't necessarily. No, we're still not nothing but a plan. We don't really necessarily take that into account. She says, but she's like, "Ooh, I just got a fun idea." And I talked about this job. I haven't done it for a while. I feel mixed about ever having done it. But she says, "Want to do the spiel? Want to do the calling switch a little bit quickly?" Sure, why not? Calling from this is Chris Call. Oh, I just thinking of saying it now. I feel like, my goodness, were we fake? And we had a workplace, like I said in that video. We had lots of coworkers. Are we doing this or not? She says. And it's just Chris Call to let you know that you've been entered into it. And I feel bad if it ever was, because I'm not out to scam people. But anyway, a job's a job. Dream come true sweepstakes. So congratulations. It's held every year for the customers of, for the holders of and Discover. And you do still carry one of those, correct? Perfect. So as a sweepstakes contestant, you're in the running for $25,000. I'm going to do it like a game show announcement. That's something I'd rather do. $25,000. A trip to Venice, Italy, and a trip to Australia. And I haven't done this job in 8 or 9 or 10, 11 maybe even years. A BMW 325i sports car. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody turned in now? The trips, um, 325 by sports car. So congratulations. Now, as a sweepstakes contestant, you've also been chosen. They don't do this anymore anyway, so whatever. To receive a men's or a ladies' diamond watch. It's beautiful. I know you're going to love it. And, also we talk about married, single, 18, 20, 21, 35, 36, 39, 69, something like that. Again, I miss it somewhat. And it's amazing that I'm not surprised entirely that I still remember it, but I don't miss it that much. But anyway, and what are your hobbies and interests? And you've received this, and this absolutely free for a full 60 months, as well as catalog, so you can change your selections often as risk free of charge. And we're also going to include a weekly edition of the Rolling Stone magazine. And actually, my brother, speaking of my brother for a moment here, back speaking about him, was on the Japanese Asian version of some sort of the Rolling Stone. There is one. I remember once I was in a class with somebody from there, and I don't think she was joking when she said, "What are the Rolling Stones? I've never heard of them." Anywho, but it's amazing that some of these acts are big in countries you wouldn't necessarily think. Anyway, exchange selections often is free of charge. And that's the only one that we do ask a little bit of help with as a sweepstakes contestant, and she may not stop watching, but even if she was again, that's like, this is just something I did at a point in time in my life. I was fairly fresh out of high school, so I mean, I was, and the company, like I say, when you have a place that you can go to, and there's lots of other coworkers, and you're getting a paycheck, it feels real, even if it feels a little strange, and like you're not entirely sure. And yeah, paycheck is nice, right? Helped me go to Australia actually, so nothing weird, But anyway, and as sweepstakes contestant, everything's been discounted, just $3.99 a week. And to be honest, almost everyone I've entered into the drawing has said yes, because you really can't beat getting this, and this for free. And I didn't say it this fast, but I'm just wanting to get through it. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm struggling to keep up, to be honest." Just for taking the weekly delivery of just that one, okay? And actually, one of the sales managers and her husband recently lost somebody very young in their life, like younger than JP, younger than Ray even. I almost want to go into rebuttals, because this is a time in my life where even if I didn't talk to the coworkers a lot, I felt more connected. I had more routine. I don't know. I'm missing it, man. Oh, what's that? You say you don't have time to do any more podcasting? Well, that's what's so nice about magazines is you can watch a little podcasts. So you can watch a little bit at a time and still get your money's worth. They also make great gift ideas. So since you'd be receiving so much for so little, that would be fair, wouldn't it? I personally, they say that you're not supposed to pause. That's not a good thing. I usually would because it felt nicer. Because I'm not sketchy, right? I mean, all I got to do is check your address and I'll show you at such and such, such and such, And again, that's everything for just $3.99 a week, guaranteed not to increase for the full 60 months. Fair? Perfect. Now I'll give you your order number. It's C-208. And my supervisor does need to stay on the line to verify your sweepstakes entry and grade my performance. Such. I am a little new. Would you mind putting in a good word for me? I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't know if she's watched this far. And again, I'm not lying when I'm saying, there's parts of this that are nostalgic that I miss it. But I don't. And with the way things have been for me lately, I might be chomping at the bit to do this again. But it's too far away. They don't do that campaign anymore. And just another one that felt a bit better to do is, I don't remember a lot about it, but you had shown interest in furthering your education. You still planning to go back to college, university this many months? What we plan to take? Okay, well, I see there's a great course, and I only, and then I did surveys for the one. But honestly, I don't really want to do course anymore. Anyway, there's a great course at Strayer University and Fountain Sale University. Would you be interested in receiving information about that? And sometimes it would say that you could transfer it right away to somebody, admissions or the school, whatever. And other times they'd get a call back. And then I think we just verified. So just to verify, it's this. And I don't remember much else other than that with that one, but I didn't do it for very long. You know what? One thing I liked about that job is it was so personable. And I must admit, some of those rebuttals some of them not, and sometimes you wanted to tweak them because you either knew that they didn't work very well or they just seemed so redundant sometimes, and they didn't like you to do that. It's really two knows on no, but some of them are more than that. But that's some part they're saying, yeah. But so they he got so good at it that just oh shit. I spilled water on my tablet. It just kind of flowed out of you in a way. See, there's water on the floor now. I'm doing really good with water on the floor today. Honestly, I think most towels can just simply dry. There was one in here. I do know that pretty well. And hopefully not get moldy, although if I was going to do it, that was also kind of a nice towel, but it's got reds on it. Well, I still feel a little bit mixed. As much as we love Arctic PR, I don't know if you're sick of it or not. And actually, there's somebody in a group that's been on it. But I still feel a little bit iffy about it. Various big reasons. Hard money that I don't never seem to win, and the host's last name is a bit weird. First name is my grandpa's first name, actually. Anywho, okay, you guys are all heading out? Yeah. Glenn will be here soon, so bye, take care. Okay, bye, see you later, kind of thing. She's like, oh, I have to get past you. Thanks, Marianne. Take care. Kevin, I've been tuned in there then. Some of it may have actually, you may not have known what's going on. It's like, does this not see people? Well, this seems really hectic. What's going on? Anyway, but yeah. For hours, eh? Let's see more. What? More that people know. But that's all for this one, I think. It's amazing how much we've helped. I am, like I say, I'm not entirely surprised I've remembered that whole spiel, but I'm slightly surprised. They both seen it hours ago, and I'm really tempted to send a question mark. Anywho, I'm going to wrap it up because that took a lot of energy. And it wasn't just mine, right? So, I mean, I don't want this to get that long. I guess and it's not Friday. So, I mean, sometimes they get home early on a different day, but usually just on a Friday, not always. But so they're just going to be leaving now. So I don't want to be kind of focusing on this. Although I'll go on my phone and do so. But I don't know if you ask away. Anyway, there's 2 3s there, so I'm going to wrap it up.